Good afternoon to Honorable Ambassador Lorenzo Galanti, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone in this hall for allocating in your business schedule to attend this seminar, Regeneration, Design and New Technologies for a Sustainable Future, on the occasion of the Italian Design Day 2022, and in preparation for the Salone Internazionale del Mobile in Milan. Now I have some housekeeping notes that we will gonna have 2 Q&A sessions. So after the first part, the first 3 speakers, we're gonna have the first Q&A, and after that, we will continue the second part, and we will conclude the program with the second Q&A, just for your information. Now, with a great pleasure, I would like to invite Honorable Mr. Ambassador Lorenzo Galanti, Ambassador of Italy to Thailand, to say a few words about this seminar.
Distinguished guests, dear partners, dear speakers, participants, ladies, gentlemen, buonasera, sawadee krap, good evening, and a very warm welcome to the opening of the 6th edition of the Italian Design Day. To our participants present here at the Conrad Hotel in Bangkok, and those who are following us online. Thank you all for being with us. The Italian Design Day is an initiative launched in 2017 by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation across the whole world, aimed to highlight the quality and characteristics of Italian design in preparation of the Salone Internazionale del Mobile, the annual fair of interior design that takes place in Milan. More about the Milan fair in a minute. Allow me to thank Mr. Giuseppe Lamacchia, director of the Italian Trade Agency in Bangkok, and his team for their relentless work to make this happen, and our partners, Eurocreations, Motif Art of Living, and Crystal Design Center. I would also like to thank all of our speakers from Italy and from Thailand, Mr. Massimo Borgia, Ms. Malina Palastira, Mr. Stefano Mirte for our first panel, Mrs. Parima Saguklu with Eurocreations, Mrs. Maria Argenzio with the brand Natuzzi, Mr. Nichari Pongsombun, and Mr. Riwat Chamnarn for the second panel. This year, we decided to focus our discussions on interior design. Interior design is a very particular angle to look at our surrounding environment. Interior design is how we want all things around us to look like, to express and convey meaning, to inspire. Interiors are what define us, but also what make us feel how we want to feel. In these terrible times of war, with an unjustified and unjustifiable aggression by Russia against the population of a neighboring and sovereign state, I can't help but thinking about the interiors of the homes that are being destroyed by Russian bombs and missiles in Ukraine. And I can't help but picture myself, too, in that frightening situation. The Salone del Mobile in Milan is usually a very unique kind of stock-taking of global trends in furniture and interior design. This year, it will take place from 7th to 12th of June under the theme Designing for our future selves, progettare per I nostri domani, with a strong emphasis on sustainability, on looking into the future, on ourselves as human beings in the face of technology and the challenge of this planet. Allow me to show you a short new video on the Milan Fair.
Quest'anno il Salone celebra la sua 60ª edizione. È passato tanto tempo da quel 1961, quando aprì per la prima volta le sue porte. Tanto è cambiato, da una fiera commerciale è diventato un grande evento, ma anche un crocevia in cui un'intera design community si ritrova da tutto il mondo e lo fa per scoprire le nuove tendenze del settore dell'arredamento. Questa edizione è molto importante, con il Salone Internazionale del Mobile, del Complemento dell'Arredo, ma anche delle biennali di Eurocucina, FTK e il Salone Internazionale del Bagno. Abbiamo però deciso di dedicare uno spazio importante alla sostenibilità. Ci sarà un evento speciale al centro del Salone che sarà un momento di riflessione su a che punto è il settore, dove sta andando e come la scelta dell'arredo della casa può influenzare positivamente questa transizione ecologica.
La sostenibilità è diventato uno degli elementi fondamentali per l'architettura e non solo per l'architettura, perché il tema oggi è quello di come possiamo vivere meglio su questo pianeta e come possiamo utilizzare meglio le risorse. Stiamo affrontando un problema che non avevamo prima. Il Salone quest'anno cerca di dare una risposta facendo vedere un ecosistema di aziende che si stanno impegnando in maniera molto determinata a produrre attraverso processi per la riduzione dell'impronta ambientale. Poi ovviamente questo tema deve essere accompagnato da una visione poetica. Se associamo questa nuova strada anche alla bellezza, abbiamo comunque fatto un percorso molto importante che sarà probabilmente anche l'unico percorso che possiamo fare.
I risultati raggiunti dal 2021 rispetto al 2019 sono stati veramente straordinari. Abbiamo segnato un 7,7% in più di export. Questo dimostra che la forza del design del Made in Italy sono accompagnate anche dalla capacità costruttiva che è indubbia ed è una delle fonti fondamentali del nostro successo a livello mondiale.
Il Salone quest'anno sarà nel mese di giugno, abbiamo scelto di spostarlo proprio per garantire la massima sicurezza per tutti coloro che parteciperanno a questo grande evento. Pensiamo che sia molto importante questo spostamento per garantire l'accesso a quel pubblico internazionale che ha reso grande il Salone del Mobile e il Made in Italy nel mondo. Chi non sarà presente fisicamente potrà vedere tutto quello che succederà al Salone e una volta chiuso il sipario sarà possibile continuare a vedere gli stand, le novità di prodotto, rimanere in contatto con le aziende proprio attraverso la piattaforma digitale del Salone del Mobile.
Il Salone del Mobile è fondamentale per il Made in Italy. Il nostro settore è riuscito a creare in 60 anni di storia la forza del nostro comparto che viene riconosciuta in tutto il mondo. È una vetrina irrinunciabile sulla quale noi produttori dovremmo assolutamente farne uso e buon uso per il nostro futuro.
Well, the theme of the Salone is what inspired the theme of the Italian Design Day for this year's edition: regeneration, design, and new technologies for a sustainable future. The notions of regeneration and sustainability are at the very core of Italy's preoccupations and priorities. So urban regeneration, reuse and recycling of materials are naturally the core of our theme. The same elements inspire Italy's pavilion at the Dubai Expo, designed by the Italian archistar Carlo Ratti, who emphasized that the pavilion is conceived to demonstrate the principle of circularity. After Dubai and the Expo in Osaka in 2025, the city of Rome is a candidate to host the World Expo in 2030. The theme the city of Rome has chosen for its value proposition is people and territories, urban regeneration, inclusion, innovation. And the theme places, again, a strong emphasis on sustainable development, on the need for regenerations of territories in the light of the green and digital transitions. It is today a priority to devise new products and processes based on sustainable technology in a circular economy. Regeneration is a process that Rome has undertaken several times in its 28 centuries of history. And I would like to share another short video with you about this candidature. Thank you.
I'm Roberto Valtieri, the mayor of Rome. I'm thrilled to be able to present Rome's nomination for such an inspiring event as a World Expo. Urban transformation is increasingly viewed as a game changer, and Rome is ready to play its part. Our project for Rome Expo 2030 will establish a new way of promoting urban coexistence. Rome is the right place to discuss these issues because culture, nature, and innovation are part of our identity. We are home to world-famous urban planners and architects. We are Europe's greenest city, a place where city and countryside have found ways to coexist and can thus help shape the cities of the future. We host universities and research centers at the cutting edge of innovation. We are a cosmopolitan and inclusive city. Over the course of our 3,000-year history, we have reinvented ourselves countless times. We have the marvels of the past at our fingertips. But now we mean to show ways of dealing with the great challenges of the future. We can't wait to see you all in Rome.
Well, the host city of the 2030 Expo will be voted in Paris by the countries that are members of the Bureau International des Expositions at the end of next year. But now, without further ado, let us delve into our seminar. With this initiative, we intend to foster cooperation among designers as a way to develop a holistic approach to interior design as part of our lives, aspiration, values, and also our sense of beauty embodied in the products of Italian interior design. I will now give the floor back to our moderator, Professor Kanokwan Trakolyin Charen, PhD in Building Engineering, Architecture and Construction at the University of Rome, Tor Vergata. Professor Kanokwan is today an independent scholar, an architectural historian with an impressive series of publications. We are honored to have her as our moderator for tonight. Professor Kanokwan, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mr. Ambassador Lorenzo Galanti, to the lively introduction to extraordinary driving force of Italian design and the future vision toward the better life quality and sustainability in the age of digital transformation. Up next is the presentation by Mr. Massimo Bozza, who has been an assistant consultant and senior designer for many design and fashion brands in the world. He has in-depth knowledge of the Italian district and the made in Italy supply chain. And now I would like to invite Mr. Massimo Bozza, senior designer, specialist in startups and brand extension.
Thank you so much to invite me to this opportunity to talk about the Italian Design Day. I've been on 4 editions before. First of all, let me, I'm sorry, I have to check it. Sorry. First of all, I'd like to thank the Ambassador Lorenzo Galanti that gave me this opportunity. And of course, I would like to thank Miss Kanokwan, she's a colleague and somebody I appreciate on her fantastic book, Italian College. So let me introduce myself and be on a quick shot about what I'm doing and why I'm here. And I would like to do it in my language, which is Italian. I hope it's not a problem for you. So I'm a designer in the first place, and I've been working in the several sono un design prima di tutto e ho cercato di esprimere questa condizione un po' in tutti i settori del design. Sappiamo tutti che il design è semplicemente, come dire, una valigia dove dentro è contenuta una serie infinita di professioni. Il design in essere è una parola, come si dice in gergo, un marchio debole, perché se non è associato a quello che il design può esprimere, non ha, come dire, un'espressione. Da qui nasce il design in essere, il fashion design, il light design, interior design, food design o qualsiasi cosa che abbia a che fare con il design. La parola design è verbo e sostantivo, dunque è una parola valigia perché evoca sostanzialmente qualcosa. Così come è esattamente una valigia il design in essere. Questo è un momento estremamente difficile, non ho bisogno di ricordarlo a nessuno perché siamo tutti contemporanei e viviamo tutti in un mondo che ormai è un all-in. Siamo, come dire, tutti sospesi e tutti in transizione. Stiamo cercando di fare ordine anche in questo lungo periodo di attesa, di sottrazione che c'è stata e personalmente con delle persone a me molto care che fanno parte del mio board abbiamo messo un focus su una cosa molto importante. Questo è un momento fondamentale nella grande confusione, nella grande sottrazione, nella grande sofferenza in termini di pandemia, in termini anche di quello che sta succedendo adesso, assolutamente non qualificabile. Abbiamo scoperto di avere un vuoto e questo vuoto va colmato in un modo o nell'altro ed è una nostra responsabilità, tra virgolette, di adulti, di persone responsabili e di gente professionista, aiutare le nuove generazioni a rigenerare tutto questo momento di transizione. Quindi fondamentalmente bisogna pensare a riempire questo vuoto, fondamentalmente bisogna ricominciare a studiare, applicare, progettare, pensare nella cultura del progetto una serie di cose che devono rispettare i canoni ovviamente del design. Il design serve a rendere forse meno difficile da gestire un qualsiasi oggetto funzionale. Ovviamente il design
mi scusi, signore Bozza, un attimino, per favore cambia usando inglese per la presentazione per fare.
Okay, so I'll try to speak in English, and I'm sorry if a little bit rusty.
Okay.
So I'm trying to say is that in a moment of
Great.
huge difficulty and hardest time, which is of course a reaction of what we did in the last 2 years about the pandemic, and of course the previous world of 1 month ago, which is absolutely without any sense, in a common sense, we understand that we probably now we have a lack, a hole, or an empty space, let's say in the way you want. That we
Excuse me, Mr. Bozia, do we have to put the presentation slides over while you are talking?
The presentation is in Italian, so I'm trying to translate in a rush.
Okay, we will put the slide for our audience here. Okay, please do so.
Thank you so much. So, in the beginning, it's appunto sospeso in transizione. That means suspended in transition. This is the moment we are. I'm trying to translate that it's very urgent for us, people is working professional, but people with experience, to help the new generation of design to fill the lack, to fill the, let's say, to be simple, the empty glass. At the moment, we found all over a lot of loneliness and sadness. So this one has to be replaced with something restarting from new. Restarting from new, it's put together new generation, old generation, new design, new production. We have to make a team, an all-in. So the only way it's the hope, which we think is the dream of a man awake. This is something we like to say. Most of the people doesn't realize that everything you see around you, it's made by, of course, somebody produced that, but it's made from a designer. A designer, it's a point of view, a turning point. And this design is somebody's coming from idea, from project. The project, it's something absolutely important. There is a stream at the moment, which is the culture of the project. You cannot face any challenge if you don't project it in any kind. And of course, in the design kind, more than ever. I was telling before that the design is probably a suitcase. So it's a simple word and it's a suitcase. But in this suitcase, you can put everything you want, because you can put the fashion design, the light design, the interior design, the food design, the car design, automotive, or whatever. The architect, of course, is probably mother and father of the design. So it's very important to understand that this suitcase, you have to be carried, and the inside of it's a long way to study. In this moment, if we have to follow the line, it's the moment of difficulty with the pandemic and the war. The next Saloni, which is about more 60 years, it's very important to understand that the Saloni, we're talking about Italy, of course, it's the most important fair we have in Italy in numbers. I don't want to talk about quality because quality is evidence. I'm talking about a simple number. Everybody's talking about the Fashion Week. The Fashion Week in Milan, it's turning about 50,000 persons for the Fashion Week, for the week. The Saloni, which is less notices on the media.
Excuse me, Mr. Valtieri, sorry, this is a time warning. Probably we need to warp it a little bit, so you have 3 minutes left. Sorry.
Okay. So I'm trying to say is that the first manufacture of design, it's the picture you see. This is something like 30 million years ago. If you see, there is an image, and this, you go on. Just go on. Okay. This is the first manufacture of design. It's 30,000 million years ago. The name is amygdala, and the amygdala is something which is like this. We have in the brain a small, you see the red one, if you go 2 slides ahead, 2 slides ahead, please. More, one more. Okay, this is the amygdala. Everybody has inside the brain the amygdala. It's the red spots, which is the same shape of the first items manufactured of design that we said before. That means something. The first manufacture 30,000 years ago was made by a man which doesn't know nothing, but he needs something to cut, probably the animal, and it's the same shape of the amygdala, which is something needs in our brain to work. The most important things I would like to say is, it's, if you go 2 slides back, it's the theory of the 8A. 2 more. Okay, this is it. The next one, the next slides, please. No, the next one. Okay, this is the theory of the 8A, which is the new manifest, the new theory of the Italian design team, which is abbigliamento, which means fashion, accoglienza, which means hosting, hotellerie, food and everything, alimentazione, which is food, architects, which is architectura, armonia, which is music, arredamento, which is furniture, arte, of course, is arte, automodo is everything related. And of course, we have to include friendly and love, which is the sharing of everybody, of course, in the world. But it's very difficult to find in a vocabulary 10 words evoke starting everything with A. And A is the first letter of the Western vocabulary. So the theory of the ETA is the new billboard of the Italian design. We have a new question because everything is changing and changing in numbers and quality. So the next future we have to face also with the green idea. And the green idea, it's very important because probably we have to combine the same image, the same style, the same research in a less problem for the next future, because we're going to stay a few years here, but the next generation have to face with what happened in this world, and the world we have is only one. So it's very important to think about a regeneration, a new number of quality and a less number of quantity. We understand in these 2 years of pandemic that we don't need so much in fashion. We don't need so much, but we need more quality and more approach on, you know, on what we need on the future. I'm teaching in few universities all over the world about this. I'm trying to help new generation to understand what we're talking about. And I'm a privileged person because I'm doing exactly what I was doing, what I was dreaming when I was a child. And I'm a very privileged person because to do the work you love, it's one of the best and the most important things in the world. Thank you so much to be with us. It's nice. The only things I would like to read, it's one of the last slides. It's red one. And we're trying to say to everybody that everything should be in the best way. Thank you so much for hosting me. Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Borgia, for your presentation. Now, warm welcome to Ms. Malina Palistara, architect and founder of Design Qua, a Bangkok-based architecture and design firm founded in 2005. She is a Bangkok-born Thai-Italian architect who co-founded Design Qua. Before entering in the field of design and architecture, she earned a Bachelor of Science in Economics from the London School of Economics. After that, she started to fix herself and thrive through the design education at the AA, or the Architectural Association in London. After that, she branched out her knowledge to be handy with urban design and city planning, and earned herself 2 master degrees from MIT. And now, just a brief introduction to Design Qua is a design firm that main body works has been single-family house, but also have different types, different building typology as well. And her latest work is the lively Thompson Art Center that is become the destination for all youngsters and teenagers to enjoy their weekends. So now, please warm welcome Malina to start her presentation.
Now you can hear me. That was Lorenzo's height. This is my height. First of all, if I may, I'm going to take this off because I'm very far from everybody. Thank you very much, His Excellency Galanti, for inviting me to join this talk. I'm very honored to be part of this, partly because, of course, I'm half Italian, and I'm very proud to be half Italian, half Thai. And also, I've been following the work and everything that's been going on at the Salone di Milano for many years since I was younger. And now 60 years anniversary, so that's that's a long time for Italian design to be around. So without further ado, I'm going to get started on my talk. As I'm a trained architect and a practicing architect, I'm going to pretty much come in from the architectural stance. So can we start the presentation, please? I think I can control it, yes. So Design for a Small Planet, it's the title I chose for this talk. It's actually is pretty much influenced by a book that really changed me as an architecture student in 1998, called Cities for a Small Planet, a book by a very famous architect that everybody knows. Here I show you the book, Richard Rogers, and I'd like to also, the late Richard Rogers, who also has a lot of connection with Italy. So he's been talking about eco-friendly design, environmental design, friendly design for many years. This is based on his lectures from 1995. I sort of go back to this book all the time, every 10, 15 years, and see where we are, because he's made many predictions that actually have come to pass now. It's the book basically just talks about, I'm going to go back. The book basically talks about how population is the main driving force of the planet being where it is now. The lack of resources is because of, 12,000 years ago at the end of the Ice Age, where 1 million people, 250 years ago at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, we were 1 billion people, and now we're close to 2022, I think we're close to 8 billion people. So all of this is about resources and population. So if we didn't have this huge population increase, then we wouldn't probably be having this conversation today. And the ways sustainability, in this book, honestly, the word sustainability doesn't even come up. Because in those days, in the 90s, sustainable development was probably where sustainability was most talked about. In the 70s, there was a huge, important book about population. I think it's 1970 something. The book basically has coined this term sustainability before it even enters the world of design, and it's more about developing in the third world like Africa sustainably, so that you can feed more people with a X amount of resources. So in terms of this talk, I saw the name of the talk, which is regeneration, and then also new technology. And I'm as an architecture student in the 90s. When we talk about sustainable design or eco-design, it's always technology-driven. It's all about what new technology, especially at MIT, it was all about like, what new technology can you come up with, and that can really effectively redistribute these resources in a better way. But as time went by, and if we look at how the term sustainability has evolved, it's now actually has an ethical and kind of cultural and community human dimension to it. It's not just what's the best technology we can use. The technology is one side of it, but I think the human side, the community side, it's quite important. So talking about, technology-driven design, if you look at both Richard Rogers and Renzo Piano, who are hugely influential for my education in terms of sustainability, they're very much about technology-driven design. But actually, as even Richard Rogers himself has pointed out in his book, his seminal book, is that nearly all the increases in the population have been in poorer countries, where the least resources and the lowest capacity to dispose of waste. In 1900, only 1/10 of the world population lived in cities, but in 2009, that trend switched. In 2009, more people live in cities than they live outside of cities. So to deal with sustainability and eco-design and a better planet and all that, the focus has to be in the cities, and the cities are growing every day. So this is the message. So going back to less technology and more poorer countries with less resources, I'm also really happy to mention the architecture firm of Kere Architects that just won the Pritzker Prize in architecture, the first African to win this prestigious prize. Also, the work of this, not only is he an African, he's also an immigrant in Germany. So this is the time where people really matter. It's not the star architects, not the people who make the most expensive buildings. If you look at his buildings, they're quite simple. Many of them are schools. He's the first guy in his family to make it actually to school. I mean, he didn't have a school. So he went back and he started building schools. So I think sustainable architecture, I have to show my dad on this because we actually got to go and see his pavilion by chance, just walking around Hyde Park in 2017. And then I became a fan of this architect ever since. Just bumped into this Serpentine Pavilion by this African architect who's now, got this huge prize, which means that the trend in architecture is also moving in the direction of ethical design, design for people and design for community, which is really great news for the profession. And just now, I just saw Mr. Cucinella on the video earlier, who's also another architect that I really admire, a contemporary architect. I luckily got the opportunity to meet him in Bologna, where his studio is, and now he's doing this amazing building, if we're gonna go back to Renzo Piano and Richard Rogers, where it's really technologically driven. At the same time, now with this technology, this 3D printing technology, it actually could be available in poor countries. So, the technology that in 25, 30 years ago that Renzo Piano and Richard Rogers had access to was probably mostly concentrated in the first world, really expensive, hard for everybody to get their hands on. But nowadays, I think Mr. Cucinella might be bringing this great 3D printed building from the earth, that's where the site of the building is. And so there's no transportation cost, there's no waste. The whole thing is just made out of the dirt of the place. So I think this is an amazing way to bring technology, community, and sustainability together inside. This is probably my most favorite Barba Papa space. I mean, I grew up with Barba Papa and I love Barba Papa and I always dream about being in a place like that, but this is probably like the best one I've seen. So inside of this, hopefully he'll bring it all around the world. I think I'm almost out of time, so I won't have much time to talk about Thailand, but I want to bring us back to Thailand since I am an architect who's practicing in Thailand. And my husband and I used to practice architecture in Los Angeles, where there was like 15 inches of rain a year, and now we're somewhere where there's 60 inches of rain a year. So when we came here, as much as everybody loves what we did in LA, we realized, we can't really build the same buildings here. And it's much hotter, it's humid, this is the desert. Here we have the jungle, insects, no insects. I mean, it's completely different. So I think what I really want to talk about, the main crux of it is that whatever kind of designer you are, whether you're a city planner, where you're looking at the city in a huge scale, you're an architect, you are a furniture designer, you are a fashion designer, whatever it is, the easiest way to be sustainable, the first step and the cheapest and most commonsensical way is to do design that's climate appropriate. Wherever you are, you design for that climate. And then you're already on the right track. Whether you can add solar panels, whether your clients will cancel the solar panels at the last minute, because there's always the first thing to be canceled in a project when the cost is too high. People still want their marble bathtubs, but the solar panels, oh, maybe we can do that in 5 years. So know that the thing to do is to really start designing from within that is appropriate to that climate. Okay, so we're in the tropical zone. These are the typical vernacular houses for very obvious reasons. I think most of us know why. We have the pitch roof for the rain, the heat. Wood was available, it's no longer available. So now we need to think about what else could replace wood. And, you know, talking about climate appropriate, you know, that looks really kind of out there for us, Eskimo igloos. But in their climate, this is very normal. This is the way to design with no waste. But, you know, the Eskimo looks at the Thai house and they probably think, wow, this is kind of crazy. What are they doing? But this is what works in our climate. So things cannot look the same and feel the same. Objects, spaces, environments, because we are from such different environments, climates. So these are some projects that we have worked on. This is my partner's and husband's project in Colorado before we moved to Thailand. We would probably never, it's really hard for me to see what I'm saying, but oh, I can see it there. Okay, but I can't point. But basically, we probably wouldn't really be designing a house like this in Thailand. Would make no sense. There would be like tons of air conditioning. It's probably really well insulated though. Another project that I worked on early on in my life in Venice Beach. Venice Beach is like being in Sardinia or in Sicily, so it's very dry. So something with no overhang, something like this works. It barely rains 15 inches a year as opposed to 60. So I probably wouldn't be able to design like this. So luckily, the first thing I did when I first got back was my father said, oh, you can have this old house that used to be my guest house from like 100 years old to rebuild, or you can rebuild a new house. And I'm like, no, I don't want to spend all this money building a new house. I'm going to fix up the old house. So this is some of the incarnation of the Thai house. Thai house is a prefabricated system. So if you think prefab is very fashionable and new, it's not. It's been done for millennia. So these houses are only built in one part of, oh, I'm out of time. So anyway, Thai houses are very interesting, and I think everybody should really check them out one day if you get a chance. This is another project that collects rainwater. That's something we try to do in sustainability. We kind of design a bathroom that is surrounded by found tubes that actually collect the rainwater from the roof. I'm going to just skip this part to go to the end of, try to get to the end of, oh, and thin houses. Thin houses are really important in the tropics. Another really interesting materials you can look at is bamboo. Bamboo is a grass, but now they're actually, with a high technology, new technology, experimentation, they're actually making bamboo as a reinforcement for concrete, if it's treated well enough. So all these old materials, if you notice, I'm just going to go through this quickly, but they're all very thin buildings. And most of these buildings, especially the ones outside of Bangkok, don't really need air conditioning unless it gets really hot. This is a project that we designed all these solar panels to go on this roof, but of course it got canceled. But now, since they've been living here a lot more during COVID, they're thinking of putting solar panels. So it's always really good to plan for them, because they might come back, and now solar panels are cheaper and batteries are available and all of that. Another thing is we use a lot of local materials. Again, thin buildings. This house all runs on all the rainwater collected under the pool. You don't see it. We are facing the sun, so there's going to be huge overhangs. This is the tree that we found when we first got there. Another bamboo building. This one is a very long span, so we actually had to deal with technology of how to make the bamboo span, each beam to span 18 meters. So this project is a festival, so they're like, you know, we just want a building that lasts 5 years. Why would you use concrete? Why would you use steel and all of that if you can just use something that in 5 years, you know, it's grass. At some point it's gonna biodegrade and disappear. So that was a perfect choice for us for a festival. Coming to the end of this, we do a lot of adaptive reuse of really old, ugly buildings that have potential. Instead of rebuilding the whole of Bangkok, there's so many old buildings that can be fixed up that have value, rather than turning everything into massive condos. Also, I won't even go into this, another adaptive reuse project that is in a garage in some parking lot that somebody said there's no chance of doing anything interesting with this, but there's a lot that can be done. I think in Europe, people are really good at adaptive reusing buildings. In Thailand, not so much, because we have a much younger kind of history with concrete and all this kind of heavy construction. This is another house that uses all these kind of climate appropriate technologies, I would say, or strategies. I'm coming to the end. Bamboo again, this has a lot of concrete. I feel very guilty about this house, but it's gonna be there for a long time, hopefully. But we do put bamboo there and a lot of ways to block the sun. And because this tropical sun is so hot, you've got to screen from it, and that's where the opportunity in design is. You know, when you screen from the sun, you can design something beautiful, a beautiful brise-soleil. You can design beautiful overhangs. There are lots of opportunities in doing design, climate-appropriate design. I think I'm coming to the end, finally, and we're using a lot of bricks because they then become earth again. So now we're trying to replace a lot of the concrete with bricks. The last thing that everybody can actually go and see themselves in this room, and hopefully people somewhere else when you come to Thailand, please go and visit the Thompson Art Center. It's a big building for us, but we also try to apply all these climate appropriate design strategies to this building. Like, you know, this has a bamboo screen. Basically 75% of the building is not air conditioned. So we're kind of going back in time. It gets hot, but we design it so it's very breezy and there's no direct sun. So actually, you know, that really reduces the cost of operation of using energy by a lot. Because if you look at most buildings in Thailand, in Bangkok of recent, in the last 20 years, is a lot of air-conditioned spaces. So the fact that this is 2/3 not air-conditioned, it does save a lot of energy in the long run. So I'm done. Thank you. This is the end. I think I'm totally out of time. Off-grid house, completely off-grid, but maybe it's for another talk, but it has solar panels, it uses the water from a pond, it has no electrical lines, we have batteries, and it really connects us to our community in Chantaburi. So this is where I think sustainable design is going in architecture, where we start connecting more with people, with community, with nature in particular. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marina, for your inspiring presentation. So next speaker is Mr. Stefano Mirte. Mirte achieves a degree in architecture and PhD at Torino's Polytechnics. postdoctorate study at the University of Tokyo. His works always explore a new boundary for design learning and bring us to another way of thinking about design. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite everyone to give a warm welcome to Stefano Mirte, President of Fondazione Milano.
Hello everyone, thank you for inviting. I prepare a presentation and share my screen. Okay, you should be able to see it. So, what I will talk today, my 10-15 minutes, is a number of ideas, thought, thinking related to design, and as you can read on the title of the presentation, is Greetings from Milan, Waiting for Salone. So, we had two long years in the pandemic, now there is the war. So a lot of things change, a lot of things are going to change. And here I summarize a number of interesting trends or things that are currently shaping or reshaping the world of interior design or design at the broad terms. Let me see. Sorry, let me see. So, I organize within all the different theme topics I could have talked, I chose to focus on four. So there are four themes, four areas. One is the new luxury, or where sophisticated craftsmanship, traditional craftsmanship, meets high tech. The second interesting theme is the orchard tone. It can be either way in the living room or in the terrace or anywhere. Now there is this idea, this concept that people want to prefer, if possible, to live with some natural elements on. The third one is the house as a television set. As myself, now I'm talking to you via Zoom, we all experience this idea that nowadays becomes very common to work, to interact, to live with people from our home. So, in quite an automatic way, the house becomes a television set. So this changes quite a lot, our perception, how we live, how we work. Finally, and this is, this is from Milan, it's clearly, as a designer, there is a lot of interesting things to learn from the fashion world. Also, fashion world has been hit and changed by the pandemic's dynamics, so it's interesting to see what's happening there. As you can see, I put the Venn diagram. Venn diagram is a very simple diagram. So you have circle A, you have a circle B, and then this generates an interesting C area. So in this C, a lot of interesting things happen. So this is basically the conceptual frame I would use for today. As you can see in the above title, sophisticated craftsmanship gets together with high tech. So apparently faraway worlds get together and change the overall spectrum of possibility. So this is a normal traditional Venn diagram. Of course, then when things becomes more overlap, then the Venn diagram becomes more complex. And then this is really a different way to look at our house, to look at the interior, to look at our world. So, in some extent, we are, of course, tired of the pandemic, terrified by the war. But then at the same time, it is an interesting moment because a lot of things are happening, a lot of things are changing in the world of design. And this is quite special. So first point, new luxury, sophisticated craftsmanship and high tech. So this is something that we all experience, that at the same time, the house more and more becomes digitalized. More and more we use the phone to interact with our devices, to interact with our home. So in some extent, the house is truly getting dematerialized, or technologies entering our life, even in the most secluded areas like our kitchen, our bedroom and so on. But at the same time, because of this, especially because of this, the traditional craftsmanship, the traditional analog world, the traditional technique becomes more and more valuable and important. So there is this very strange, there are these two different worlds that becomes one. So it is nowadays quite common that we use app to choose wallpaper. I was the other day in Corso Garibaldi in Milan. They open up this new flagship store by Amelia Volpi, and you can choose all kind of traditional wallpaper. The wallpaper is one of the most traditional elements of the interior design, but then you can use them, you can choose them because of the app, because of the digital system, because you can immediately visualize this app in your home and so on. So this is just an example, but then it's really interesting to see the short circuit when new technologies, new media overlap, interact with the traditional one. And by the way, I didn't mention, but if you go back for a second to the cover, this picture is not a real house. This is a house in the metaverse. This is a digital home. No? Again, there is this very interesting that seems to me that all these new experiments in this metaverse are very traditional. No? It's really, really curious. The more we get into digital, the more we get into the future, the more we find satisfactory and peace and from traditional things. So number one, sophisticated craftsmanship and high tech. Number two, in the living room or in the terrace, an orchard at home. So more and more, we like to have the natural element inside our house, and the natural element more from the correctional system, like plants normally have, becomes a little or big, or not so little orchard. We like to grow our basilico, all the plants that we use in the kitchen. For some of us, this becomes, because they have the possibility, this becomes big or it becomes wide. For some other, again, with the help of technology, there are like a miniaturized garden that more and more take shape, do shape our kitchen, our living, the way to live. Again, this is very interesting. And also not to mention, I was talking with some of the people that are developing one of the biggest example in Milan, developing this technology, and they say that, of course, when they promote things, it's all about basilico and Italian food and pasta, but then because of the globalized process of legalization of light drugs, this becomes a completely different way to live. So this is, again, something that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, would have been really difficult to imagine. Now, all these new things are entering our home, our way of life. Next, this is the house of the television set. This is an illustration from New York Times. Now, this is from the early stage of pandemics, when Tom Ford would share his trick to how to look good on camera on video conference. That's, you can find it on Google. It's very nice, very simple. But then this is something we all experience. All of a sudden, it was about the light we use, about how to raise the screen, the camera, and cold light, warm light, what's the background. So this process where our house became, and some part became to remain, also some portion of the house are a television set. This is fascinating. This is something the things that more out of the pandemic, this is something that will remain with us, because exactly as I am talking now here from Milan to you in Bangkok, more and more this is something that we will shape our life. Then of course this brings a number of features, a number of things along. Next, learning from fashion. So fashion, for a number of reasons, is generally always cutting edge, is always a little bit ahead of design. And how do them, I could have talked for hours about what's happening in the fashion world, and Milan from this point of view is quite fortunate point of view. I just focus on one example. This is the picture is one of these rental fashion systems. So nowadays, you know that instead of buying new clothes, you can rent existing one. So there are multiple services available for you. And now this is also moving into design. So I was in a meeting a few weeks ago with one of the major Italian producers, and they were explaining me how it will work, the system that you can rent, not anymore, not only clothes, but in their case, how you can rent furniture, how you can rent interior design. Again, this is something that a few years ago would have been thought possible to make. You rent a table, you rent a bookcase, and so on. But this is something that is arriving, something that is already here, and all these, a lot of these new things will be on show in Milan this coming June. And well, this is so. To summarize, so there are these four trends. So number one is high-tech and traditional craftsmanship. The second is the nature in the home or the orchard, how to grow things in your house. The third is the house that is becoming a television set, and the fourth, the trend from fashion design. The last image, it's a picture from one of the latest Prada show. Traditional catwalk, you know how it looks. This is the setup of the new catwalk, where there are people in presence and people remotely, and the technology and the digital and analog technology completely reshape the experience of the people who take part, exactly as it is happening to us today. And from the video that we were shown by the ambassador earlier today, it's really, I hope to see in person in Milan, or if you won't be able to come, there will be surely the possibility to attend remotely. It's different, it's not the same. To be in Milan today is not the same to be in Bangkok. Surely it's a different way to interact, it's a different way to live our space and our forest. I think I've finished what I was supposed to say. I thank you very much again for inviting and for attending, and I leave to the speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Stefano Mirte, for your fantastic presentation. We will wrap up the two Q&A sessions in one at the end of the program. So now we will up next to the next speaker. The first speaker for the second part is Ms. Parimaskunku. She received her master's degrees in fashion and luxury brand management at Istituto Marangoni, Milano. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Ms. Parimaskunku, interior designer from August Design Consultant, to share her perspective about design with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me today. I'm truly honored. I just want to briefly introduce myself first. So could you please give me my slides? Thank you. I'm an interior designer from August Design Consultant, and we do interior design for all kinds of projects, from hospitality to residences to corporates, but we're most known for our hospitality projects. And these are just some of our recent works, but I'm just not gonna go into that. I'm just gonna go into the topic. So, okay. My topic is about regenerating Italian furniture design. I have a very personal relationship with Italy, as I got my master's degree in Milan. And it's in the field of fashion and luxury brand management. But living in Milan was actually a turning point for me, because it got me acquainted more with interior design. And I was fascinated with my first time at Salone del Mobile. It was truly an eye-opening experience for me. It's very memorable. This is the photo I took from the first Salone that I've been to. I think it's Cos ex Nendo installation. There were many installations, many exhibitions, and many products that I liked from that year. I think it was like 2014 or something. Yeah, but I kind of lost all of the photos, so this is the only one I still have. So what struck me the most during the Salone is the vibe that Milan has during the week. It was very enchanting to see people in the streets full of people, full with ideas, filled with inspirations, so much that I decided to, when I came back to Bangkok 8 years ago, I decided to work as an interior designer instead. So no more fashion business for me. And since then, I've been a regular visitor at the Salone almost every year, because our company would just send our staff to Salone and go see what people are up to, what are the products that they're into these days. So throughout the years that I've been to Milan, I've seen developments and increasing importance of the fair, as Italy is now in the forefront of the design industry in terms of its craftsmanship and also its timeless design as well. Oops, okay. So basically, whatever happens in Salone, which products are showcased at Salone, they will regulate the rest of the world's design industry. So that's basically why people from all over the world are gathered in that week. So, but to be completely honest, I myself don't follow design trends at all. I simply think of Salone as some kind of an art event where I just go to just to be inspired and fulfill my passion for design. From my point of view, I see Italy as the center of art and culture, and especially in the field of modern furniture design. So I place myself as an admirer of Italian furniture. I love how the design could be classic, sometimes fun, but always functional, sometimes elegant, but it also lives through time. There were many great architects, Italian architects, and Italian furniture designers in the past, and I think their works are just visionary and legendary. Their work has a long history, and it has already become a legacy to the new generations. So take this piece, for example. This chair is designed by Gio Ponti in 1957, so basically like 70 years ago. And I think it's a product of a perfect combination between a true timeless design and high skills of Italian craftsmanship. You can see that it's very lightweight. I think it's just only 1.7 kilograms. The kit could easily hold them up. And it still looks very sleek, very minimal, and Casina still sells them today. And it still looks very modern. The other one that I like, this one is called LC4, and it's designed by Le Corbusier, Pierre Jeanneret, and Charlotte Perriand. They're all masters in architects and interior design. It was, you can see that the ergonomic of the seat is actually, it's actually modeled on the natural contour of the human's body, so it's very comfortable. And the steel frame that you see there, it's in the curve. You can adjust it to sit upright, or you can just lay down just like the woman in the picture. So you can totally adjust it according to your preferred posture. This piece has already become an iconic Italian furniture. And again, it's still being sold by Casina, even though it's just almost 100 years old already. I think it doesn't look old-fashioned at all. And personally, I think it deserves to be in a museum now. Another one, this one is a sofa called Soriana, and it was designed in the 70s, I think. It was a revolutionary piece back then as well, because it doesn't require any hardware support inside. You just need the metal structure that grips the fabric, grip the cushion together from the front and the back, and it will hold them all together. So Casina just brought back this model and kind of reboots it in a more recent version. So they reproduce it in an eco-friendly version as a part of their mission to be committed to a sustainable future. So they made it with a recyclable materials in the padding, and also the recyclable wooden panel as well. But for the more recent models of Casina, I think they're showing their ability to adapt and also create a new design in the current era. This is designed by a younger generation designers called Patricia Urquiola. This is very cute, very Patricia if you know her, and it also holds a new unique characteristics of Casina design. The use of bold, bright colors, the soft and curvy shapes. These are the playful twists that Italian furniture brand like Casina is moving towards nowadays. I'm just gonna go faster now. Again, they're doing recyclable materials. And this is another brand that I think is worth mentioning because it has a long history and also contributes a lot to Italian design history as well. It's Molteni & C. I've heard that they have a Molteni museum where they keep the archive of the furniture that they did and also their history as well. And this chair is a part of their archive there. It's, again, designed by Gio Ponti, but they just reproduced it very recently. It was one of his favorites in the past. It was used in many public spaces, and it kind of looks cute. It looks classic, and it's easy to assemble as well. You only need like 8 pieces of the model. This is the chest drawers that I really like because it looks very simple. Looks just like another drawers, but if you look closely, you'll see that there's the joints, the three joints at the edge. That means they don't use any screws or glues to build these drawers at all. Another piece from Gio Ponti with the curved ends. This shows a high level of wood craftsmanship. And this is the most recent one from Foster's and Partners. This piece, this table, the leg is made of an innovative material. It's just printed out in a single block, and it's totally recyclable. So I think it's one of the many more implementation that Molteni & C is going towards as well. And this is the last one from Molteni, I think. It looks very neutral, very contemporary, but what's interesting is the fabric. This fabric is designed by Patricia again, and it's made of a recyclable yarn that made from used bottles that were collected from Thailand. And this is my last slide. These photos come from the book Casina as Seen by Carl, which features photos of Casina furniture taken by Karl Lagerfeld. So apart from being a fashion designer, Carl is a furniture collector, and he has a very long appreciation for Casina's iconic furniture. In this book, he was able to capture the true essence of Italian furniture design And through the post, I think he gave it a new life. It's like a new generation for these furniture. So he made it even more artful and emphasized on its design value. So the reason I put it as my last slide is that I think it represents how Italian furniture is evolving through time. From what we've seen today, I think Italian furniture brands are retracing its historical value, but with an eye to the future. Sorry. I think Italian furniture lasts through time, but it's not only in design-wise, but also quality-wise as well. And the use of natural materials and innovative craftsmanship results in a timeless product that's are accepted worldwide. And just a little more. So to wrap up, I think new generations designers, they are taking charge of the creative directions of the Italian brands. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so what I was saying. Okay, new designers, they're taking charge of the creative directions of the brands. They're rekindling old models to make it more environmentally conscious and also more relevant to the consumers nowadays. But at the same time, they're creating their own design legacy to the future as well by creating new models, new collections that move towards a more sustainable future. So with this in mind, I believe that Italy would continue to be the leader in the furniture industry. And also, I think it's obviously that it can easily reach the full potential in design innovation in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parima Sakunku, for your invaluable insight. Now I would like to introduce Ms. Maria Argenzo, Global Trade Business Manager from Natuzzi Italia, an architect with a great passion for art and interior design. She has worked with a great commercial team. Her current goal is to introduce professionals in the design scene to the beauty of Apulian lifestyle. Now I would like to invite Ms. Maria Argenzo to share her presentation about Natuzzi and key thoughts about the circle of harmony. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor for me to attend this event and have the opportunity to talk something about the Natuzzi brand. First of all, I would like to thank the Italian Embassy and the Italian Trade Agency and Eurocreation, which is our commercial partner and authorized distributor in Thailand. I am going to share my few pictures of this presentation, okay, where we will start to Can you see my screen? Okay. We will start talking about the Circle of Harmony, which is our brand manifesto. But before to talk about our vision of design, I would like to share with you a few numbers to talk about the Natuzzi company, which is a company born in the south of Italy, where we are currently based, more than 60 years ago. We are in more than 100 countries. We have 7 facilities and more than 559 stores all over the world, plus 4,300 employees in all the world. Today, Natuzzi is one of the most well-known and distributed furniture brands in the world. When we talk about Natuzzi, we talk about some values that are part of our DNA, like the craftsmanship and the heritage, but they are blended with innovation in terms of research, of material, of new shapes, new suggestions for our products, and in terms of new way to produce our products to have a low impact on the environment. So in this way, we take care about the sustainability of our production. And that's the reason why we talk about ethics and quality. We test and certify all our products, and we take care about the environment, the employees, and the destination and the use of all our products. We had, during these 60 years of life, we turned from manufacturer into a lifestyle brand. And we are proud to talk about our unicity, which is our Mediterranean lifestyle. Every line, every color, every shape of our products are an expression of our way to be, to live, and to see the nature of the world. That's the reason why during this transition, this huge transformation, we became a lifestyle brand, and we launched a couple of years ago our brand Manifesto, which we call the Circle of Harmony. It's a symposium where we called several architects and interior designers from each part of the world to give their own interpretation, creative interpretation of not only about products, about a life, a way to live, and they embraced and they declined blending with with the DNA of the company, their own interpretation, their view of themes like harmony, beauty, nature, and sustainability. I would like to share with you a nice video where our creative director, Pasquale Junior Natuzzi, will give you more information about this brand manifesto, the Circle of Harmony.
Imperfezione rende le cose uniche.
Circle of Harmony is my invitation to this group of friends.
When you say design, it's not about designing software, it's about the way we approach the world.
This is the theory that is teaching us that we react when we see an object in a first second.
I have a very long and close connection with Apulia.
La natura è la massima espressione dell'armonia.
L'evoluzione estetica c'è nel momento in cui tu non ti accontenti mai.
Ma la contemporaneità in cosa sta? Nell'essere sempre più casual.
Innovation is not just making something how it has been done before.
Because we just started and we ain't gonna stop.
As I told you before, we just began this wonderful experience with this architect interior designer. And in 2024, during the last Salone del Mobile, we're expanding this Circle of Harmony, introducing collaboration with other architect interior designer. So each one of them give his own tribute to the beauty, to the harmony, and to the use of the natural material that are part of our DNA with their own interpretation. Let me share with you another very suggestive videos.
We design to tell a story. In fact, as we evolved into a lifestyle brand, we had to explain to the world who we were and what we believed in.
I do believe that Every design is principally figurative.
Silently, you tell the story of the collection through materials, through shapes.
But I think time is also shifting, and time are mature also to embed, as you said, narrative, ecology, wider.
Our generation can do that shift.
I think for the sofa, I didn't want to approach it as a sofa, but in fact more like a sculpture.
È riuscito a inserire il mio linguaggio, comunque molto forte, molto personale, all'interno dell'universo Natuzzi.
This is the collection in which the Mediterranean reveals itself in the most imaginative way.
Da piccola guardavo la natura e le cose mi sembravano così ben disegnate.
Il disegno è parte di una gestualità.
Non è un movimento di carattere puramente meccanico, ma è un movimento di carattere emozionale.
More and more people want to go back in the original culture because we travel a lot, we see everything. But in the end, it's not enough. We want something more deep.
Beauty makes us happy. It's one of the learnings that my father kept telling me for all my life. And since then it is part of my vision. Because aiming to push the boundaries of creativity and aesthetic will save the world.
I strongly believe that this presentation, these videos can give you a powerful idea of what we mean when we talk about the blend between the beauty, the nature, the harmony. It's not only about to design and to create a product. It's a way to live. It's a lifestyle. With the respect of the nature, of the environment, where we take suggestions from. So thank you everybody for this time, and I hope it has been very interesting for you.
Thank you, Ms. Maria Atenzo, for your lively presentation about Natuzzi's vision. Now we're gonna go to the next speaker. I would like to invite Ms. Nishari Pongsombun, co-founder and business development, creative director, YAF Design. Today, she will come to share with us her perspective on interior design. Please warm welcome her.
Hey, hello everyone. I think I'm the last person, right? So maybe you guys already would like to sleep somehow. But anyway, today let me introduce myself a little bit more. My name is Faye from YAF Design. Basically, YAF Design do workplace, so maybe our interior design approach may be different from others in some perspective. But I just would like to let you know that in the workplace or in the office design, or we do a lot of corporate workplace design, which is nowadays also changed a lot. That's the reason why I think the topic of regeneration design and new technologies for a sustainable future workplace is matched to my section. So let's start. I would like to start with some of the questions to you guys nowadays. So the first one, I would like to ask for your working mode lifestyle nowadays. What kind of working lifestyle that you are in? The first one is full-time in the office. Anyone here working full-time in the office nowadays? Oh, still have. Okay, so you can see in here is many varieties of the working mode lifestyle. Some people maybe work just 1 or 2 days working remotely, or someone can work anywhere in the world. Why people need workplace? Why don't just work from home, right? If we can work anywhere in the world. So I have some of research. This is work from home satisfaction. This is just some of corporate firm that I would like to show you. There are a couple of branches around the world. So if you see the work from home satisfaction is a bit high, but this is the study from 2021. So, but anyway, on the other hand, work from home comments also have a lot of lack of socialization, lack of collaboration. So people don't have a space for doing collaborative in the colleagues. You know, sometimes you have a baby at home, or sometimes you have a dog or the pet at home. Sometimes you cannot focus on your work. So that's the reason why we need workplace. This is the example for the employee segmentation nowadays ratio. We have 3 types. This is just an example. This is 3 types of the workplace nowadays. We have on-site, it means 100% as you have. And another one is hybrid. Maybe some people work just 1 or 2 days per week, or another 3 days work from anyways from the world. And the last one is 100% remotely. So if you can see here, the different type of working style is also reflect to the space below. For example, if you work on-site, maybe you need a lot of focus area. You need a lot of top workspace that you need to focus, or you need some meeting rooms. But if you work remotely, maybe you just need some of, collaborative space, which is you can go to the office and maybe you can work at the cafe somehow because you use laptop anyway, right? So our workplace lifestyle in nowadays for the design and strategy that we would like to encourage corporate to work is SOFVT. Actually, is quite related to what kind of topic today. So the first thing that we need is share. The second thing is open communication in the office. The third thing is flexible, and also visualize is very important. Sometimes when you work in some corporation, you feel proud to be at that corporation because of what? That's kind of visualization that it's one of the strategy in the workplace. And also the last one is technology. Technology is kind of, is now is not new normal anyway, it's a now normal. So that's the reason why technology has come to help in a lot of workplace lifestyle. So let me show you some example for the share space. This is ARV collaboration space, belong to Potato PTT Corporation. This is the new venture of the new generation that target Generation C to work in the office, to come to belong to their corporation. The area that people would like to work, what kind of space that we would like to aim for. The first thing is flexible, right? This is office, only 250 square meters, which can gain people about 50 people. How to do that? And in terms of sustainability and cost saving nowadays, it's not just about reusing materials or reusing costs, but the management people and also create people to do more productive in the way of working is also sustainability in terms of workplace as well. I think in the past, people work like 10 square meters per person, but now today only 5 square meters already. So what kind of space that people really want to have, like For example, this is the pantry area, right? You know, when you spend a lot of money for the pantry area, which is just used for 1 hour, what is the reason why to spend that kind of money? That is not sustainable at all. So nowadays, all of the corporations try to utilize space for the pantry area to be a workspace, to be an informal meeting space, to be a collaboration space. That kind of sustainability that we are focusing for. And this is some example for the agency company. We design for, you know, creative people, how to make creative people to come to work together with flexible furniture. If you see all this circle furniture is kind of modularity. So when you would like to have a brainstorming for many people, like 100, so you can use this just space for 100 people. But if you just want like to use for 10 people, you can just, you know, grab the share and use just, you know, this kind of utilized space that we are looking for the workplace. And also the pantry. Normally, people really love to have a hangout at the coffee area and have a meeting at the same time. And also, you know, when you walk past at the pantry area, normally you're going to meet your friend or your colleagues. At the same time, you can share the idea to your colleague. Even you are a marketer, even you are accountant, or even you are, you know, just IT person. But this kind of space can have a collaboration at the same time. People in others team or other department can meet each other at this kind of space. So this is a Philips healthcare office. We also, you know, create some multiple function flexibility and have a green environmental as well. But in terms of, you know, bring green and natural light coming in, sustainability in terms of cost saving in terms of electricity, and also, you know, the usage of space. The next one, I have some example about open communication. What kind of open communication that we are proposing right now? So this is also agency company. When you have, I think everyone know about elevator pitch, right? Most of the team in the, you know, some department, we need to do elevator pitch. So this kind of space that we would like to propose as elevator pitch for the corporation. We need some space that have people to collaborate and share their idea. But sometimes, you know, when you have a meeting in just, you know, some traditional, conventional, or traditional meeting room, the idea and productive is not that much happen because, you know, in the research already shown that when you have a meeting in a meeting room, just traditional meeting room, your productive is decreased and you stay too long. But when you have encouraged in the space that open, have a proud space, you're gonna have more energetic and more collaborative with your friend. And at the same time, even we provide open communication like this space, but we also provide a facility next to it. For example, I have a collaboration with my friend. I have someone call me, and I have to pick up at the same time. So I just, you know, grab into the phone booth to have a call. So our workplace, we, as a designer, we design for the space for people, behavior, and people management. So what we have done for the company and corporate nowadays is not just design, but also help them to manage cost and people management too. The last one, I think the flexibility is come together with technologies. Maybe, for example, this table in your room, if you see your table have electricity on the table, right? But actually, this is a movable table. You can just plug the outlet, connect to it, and this table can move around this room. This kind of technologies that come to health nowadays. Maybe 10 years ago, we cannot use the laptop without, you know, landline. But nowadays, we can use laptop, we have a mobile phone, we have a wireless. I don't need to have any laptop here. So I think the technology has helped a lot to bring the workplace to the future. That's the reason why flexibility is happened. You can work anywhere in the world. And also, one more thing for, actually, you can work anywhere, maybe we can call agile workspace. agile workspace, what is that kind of that? When you have when you don't have a fixed seat, for example, I go to office and I don't have the table, I can sit anywhere. But what about my belonging? So normally we have a smart locker, something like this. So you just put your belonging into the lockers, and then you just work around, bring your laptop anywhere in the office. That's very easy and very comfortable. And also we have sometime when you work in the focus area, you would like to when you would like to have a collaboration with others, normally you're gonna sit opposite with your friend, right? But nowadays, if you would like to have a focus task or individual tasks, you may need to sit next to the windows because of what? You see the view and you don't see the people walk pass by. That's the reason why we have some kind of this space as a flexible when you would like to focus on your work. And I think visualize. This is very good example cooperation that I would like to mention with. This is KE Group Office. About 3 years ago, they also have a fixed seats for every employees, but nowadays they're doing 100% agile workspace, which is the energetic of people that working in the office totally changed and different. People walk around, see each other, admin, finance, IT, a lot of energetic is changed a lot, and productive of the company is higher and higher. This is what we're proud of as a designer. Of course, our design need to be in terms of beauty and good design, but the result productive in terms of cost and in terms of management of people is more important than the design of the workplace. So this office, we're very proud of this. And the last thing is about technology. What I told you before about flexibility, right? We have technology, we have Zoom call, we have Teams meeting, we have a lot of Google Meet or anything, something like this. But why we don't just do it from home? Because our home don't have acoustic enough. You know what I mean? When you use your earphone, sometimes it's bouncing, acoustic is around, it's not good. If you can see in the conference call before, the sound is not that, perfect. But how office can provide you a good environment for you to work in all the tasks. This is what we think is more sustainability in terms of design workplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nishri Pongsombun, for your pleasurable sharing about your thought, in particular about the workplace behavior changing that we are facing right now. And now I would like to invite Mr. Rewat Chamnan, lecturer at Rangsit University, former editor-in-chief Wallpaper Thailand. Today, Mr. Rewat will share his ideas about language and design, as well as Italian design with us and through his video call. Now let's welcome him then.
Thank you very much, Khun Kanokwan, Dr. Tinjaran, for your kind introduction. And good evening, everyone. On behalf of Motive, we would like to thank you again for your kind invitations to be a part of this webinar. My topic today is a language of things and design, Italian aesthetic, and I would like to share you with my 10 minutes presentation in the form of video clip. So may I just share now.
Rewatchamnan Sawadikap. I should introduce myself, a former editor-in-chief of Full Paper Thai edition. I am now working as creative consultant, researcher based in design, also a university lecturer for my students at College of Design, Rangsit University. Every language have their own charismatic, communicated by a different form of alphabets and a vocabulary spelling. นั่นหมายความว่าทุกภาษา ล้วนสร้างภาพจำด้วยตัวมันเองหากแต่ในทุกภาษาในทุกๆการสื่อสารล้วนมีวัตถุประสงค์เดียวกันนั่นก็คือเพื่อใช้สื่อสารและสื่อความหมาย sending a message with creative idea เหนือสิ่งอื่นใดภาษาที่ใช้ในการสื่อสารนั้นไม่จำเป็นต้องเป็นเพียงข้อความหรือถ้อยคำที่เขียนขึ้นด้วยตัวอักษรเท่านั้นหากแต่มนุษย์ผู้ชาญฉลาดก็ได้คิดค้นภาษาอื่นขึ้นอีกมากมายและที่น่าสนใจเป็นพิเศษก็คือภาษาทางการออกแบบโดยผมขอนิยามว่านี่คือ a language of things หรือ a language of design โดยเราสามารถเรียกได้ว่านี่คืออีกหนึ่งภาษาสากลที่เป็น common language เพื่อใช้สื่อความสร้างสรรค์ทำให้ระบบนิเวศของอุตสาหกรรมสร้างสรรค์เติบโตโดยเป็นภาษาที่ไม่จำเป็นต้องสื่อผ่านตัวอักษรแต่สื่อสารด้วยรูปฟอร์มสร้างสรรค์ที่เปี่ยมด้วยความงดงาม Design language is fully with aesthetics. You may now might curious what is design language or what is common language. Common language or design language refer to things or forms that are commonly understood by a group of people. It often relates to specially introduced things and forms that help people communicate more effectively in the creative economy. This form of design is about visual language of man-made products. It explains how mass-produced objects evolve over time and what makes them change. Form evolutions behave in a similar way to language evolution, and to some extent, even to natural evolution, although there are identifications with fully aesthetic in every form of design. Who is aesthetics? นอกจากนี้นักปราชญ์ระดับตำนานของโลกหลายท่านยังได้นิยามและให้ความหมายของคำว่า aesthetic เพิ่มเติมไว้ว่า aesthetics or aesthetics is the branch of philosophy that deals with the nature of beauty and taste, as well as the philosophy of design. It examines aesthetic values, often expressed through judgments of taste. Aesthetic covers both natural and artificial sources of aesthetic experience and judgment. It considers what happens in our mind when we engage with aesthetic objects or environments, such as reading visual art, listening to the music, reading poetry, experiencing a play, or exploring nature. The philosophy of design specifically studies how designers imagine, create, and perform works of design, as well as how people use, enjoy, and criticize design. Aesthetics considers why people like some works of design and not others, as well as how design can affect mood or even our beliefs. ความงามที่เป็นภาษาสากลที่สร้างโดยนักออกแบบสัญชาติอิตาเลียนมีรูปฟอร์มอย่างไร To understand the language of design, we also need to understand how the designer has evolved as a professional. Ever since design emerged as a distinct activity, closely linked to the development, designers have launched from seeing themselves as social reforms idealists, profoundly out of sympathy with their time. วันนี้เรามาทำความรู้จักกับ Language of Things ของงานออกแบบสัญชาติอิตาเลียนที่เปี่ยมด้วย Italian aesthetics ในรูปแบบ Common Form สื่อสารด้วย Common Language จำนวน3แบรนด์กันครับนิยามความงดงามตามฉบับสัญชาติอิตาเลียนแท้แบรนด์แรกชื่อว่า Gamma has headquartered in the United States and export their collection to 64 countries all around the world. Gamma clarify themselves as the one who love food design and elegance. This Italian brand provide high-end quality leather things with fully of Italian aesthetic under a tagline, made in Italy. They design and present their common language in a form of furniture by using the expertise of research and innovation skills without ever forgetting the values of Italian tradition. Clear visions of the present and an eye towards the future. In this way, Gamma makes every day his love for design, the strong personality, and the intrinsic elegance of every single moment to present that design language. Gamma is a tailor art who 100% made in Italy. They do care every details are essential, so they also take care of every last one by using the skill of their craftsmen. Designs take shape and are transformed from abstract ideas to a common language, tangible reality. Tradition, research, and innovation are everyday Gamma's work is guided by the value of tradition, together with a crystal clear vision of the present and the future. The handcraft quality and design of Gamma's furniture is a celebration of the craftsmanship that went into making it, even in the more contemporary shape and modern lines, in a continuous quest for excellence. Gamma ถือเป็นแบรนด์ใหญ่ที่ถ่อมตัวและพร้อมปรับตัวให้ทันต่อสถานการณ์ตลาดของโลกภาษาในการออกแบบที่แบรนด์ใช้สื่อสารล้วนเป็นภาษาที่เข้าใจง่ายของผู้พบเห็นเก้าอี้ดูเป็นฟอร์มเก้าอี้ที่นั่งสบายสื่อสารผ่านแนวคิดอันงดงามด้วยฝีมือการผลิตของช่างการเย็บการปักฝีเข็มรวมไปถึงผืนหนังชั้นดีที่ล้วนแล้วแต่เป็นเทคนิคเฉพาะตัวของแบรนด์ที่ยากหาใครเหมือนทำให้เกิดเป็นรูปฟอร์มของภาษาการออกแบบที่น่าจดจำThe language of design by Pentalite is craftsmanship meets the technological vanguard. Penta produce high-quality lamps with contemporary design, which are 100% made in Italy. In the course of their history, they have interpreted the ideas of sought after and never predictable designers, transforming their visions into objects in which formal beauty meets functional utility. All lamps are inspired by the arts of master craftsmen who put their heart, skill, and knowledge into the service of their skilled hands and use the cutting-edge technology to able to enrich Italian tradition with new expressive and penthouse aesthetic codes. แบรนด์สัญชาติอิตาเลียนผู้ผลิตโคมไฟทำจากเนื้อแก้วชั้นดีอย่างโมราโนสื่อภาษาทางการออกแบบด้วยรูปฟอร์มของโคมที่เรียบง่ายหักแต่ละเม็ดด้วยกระบวนการเป่าให้ขึ้นฟอร์มกลมจากฝีมือ Made in Italy ตัวโคมสื่อสารด้วยกระบวนการคิดแนว Cutting Edge Technology เพื่อสื่อความงามรูปแบบเฉพาะของ Pentalite. Last but not least, brand Cool Magic. For more than 40 years, since 1976, that Magis have been creating design for people's homes, offices, and public space, and still stay strong under a design language as pushing the boundary of design. Magis always constantly searching for novel ideas, new design languages, and innovative production methods. This clarified Magis design language is eclectic. Each Magis product is created to the highest possible quality, reflecting the remarkable skills and knowledge of their craftsmen and partners. นอกจากนี้ Magis ยังเป็นแบรนด์ที่มองโลกรอบมุมนักออกแบบไม่ได้เพียงแค่สร้างภาษาออกแบบที่อยู่ในรูปฟอร์มของผลิตภัณฑ์หรือเพียงเก้าอี้ตัวสวยเท่านั้นหากแต่ยังก้าวข้ามผ่านแนวคิดใหม่ที่ทันต่อเทรนด์โลกอาทิ Collection Eco Design ที่มีการนำวัสดุที่เป็นมิตรต่อสิ่งแวดล้อมลดกระบวนการผลิตที่ลดการสร้างขยะมลพิษเพื่อสร้างความยั่งยืนให้ระบบนิเวศมาใช้ในการผลิตเพื่อสื่อถึงภาษาทางการออกแบบที่คำนึงถึงสิ่งแวดล้อมเป็นหลักและสานต่อความยั่งยืนของโลกผ่านการเลือกสรรวัสดุทางเลือกใหม่ที่มาจากกระบวนการคิดรอบด้านอันยั่งยืนให้ผู้บริโภคได้ตระหนักถึงความสำคัญของสถานการณ์สิ่งแวดล้อมของโลกในปัจจุบัน Motive แบรนด์โชว์รูมเฟอร์นิเจอร์สเกลใหญ่ตั้งอยู่บนพื้นที่ชั้น 4 ของอาคาร Central Embassy นำเสนอตัวเลือกเฟอร์นิเจอร์และของแต่งบ้านภายใต้แนวคิด Casual Elegance ที่นี่คัดสรรเฟอร์นิเจอร์ชิ้นงานคุณภาพระดับ World Class อย่าง Gamma Italia, Magis และอื่นๆรวมไปถึง Collection Lighting อย่าง Pentalite และ Home Accessory อีกหลายแบรนด์ Motive was then the pioneer in bringing modern contemporary designs to define the new luxury living. The use of moderate colors like white, gray, beige, taupe, and black in neat and stylish designs was soon recognized as motif identity, which remains strong since its first day till present. The selection of motifs products that represent casual elegance was loved by both customers and interior designers. คุณอัครรัตน์ วรรณรัตน์ the managing director of Motif, believes in finding the finest furniture and home products for casual elegant living, focusing on utmost comfort, best materials, qualified productions, and timeless design, which is ready to fulfill any lifestyle and complete every definition of perfect living. และระหว่างวันที่ 7-12 มิถุนายน 2565 จะเป็นช่วงเทศกาลงาน Salone Internazionale del Mobile จัดขึ้นภายใต้แนวคิด Designing for Our Future Selves ที่กรุงมิลานประเทศอิตาลีมาคอยลุ้นกันนะครับว่า Motif จะนำ things ที่เป็นความงดงามตามแบบฉบับสัญชาติอิตาเลียนชิ้นไหนจากแบรนด์ใดกลับมารอชมกันครับว่า New Trends in Italian Interior Design ประจำปี 2022 จะมีประโยชน์ของการใช้งานมากน้อยแค่ไหนและรูปฟอร์มจะสวยละเมียดเพียงใด
Okay ครับ Thank you very much. I would like to give this floor back to คุณกนกวรรณครับ Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Revat Chamnan, for sharing your journey in the design world with us. Now we are about to start our final Q&A session, and it will not take that long. So, yeah. The time goes so fast, and I would like to invite Honorable Mr. Ambassador Lorenzo Galanti, Ms. Malina, Ms. Parima, and Ms. Nashari to join the Q&A session on the stage. And also, I would like to invite our speaker via Zoom to join the Q&A session with us as well. Okay. Before we get started, I would like to announce a kind of housekeeping notes to our speaker in the Zoom. When you prefer to intervene during Q&A session, please raise your hand a little bit on the screen so we can know the sign that and arrange the queue for open the mic. And after that, the first question, and one note to all the participants who attending the seminar here, if you prefer or if you would like to send us questions, please feel free to do so. You can send through writing down the notes and send to our staffs, or you can just raise your hand and we will bring the microphone to you. So the first question goes to Honorable Mr. Ambassador Galanti. I just wondered, with the vision that you announced in your presentation, what is your first impression when you just come to know about the concept of regeneration and the design in general, in particular, as you already experienced this tropical climate, right? The theme announced in Italy, and as your role is to bridge between here, the audience here, and the theme that announced in Italy. What is your impression at the first time you heard it?
Well, I think regeneration is a very important topic in a world that is changing so fast, and it has become almost commonplace to say that. But recalling what Malina said earlier about, let's say, climate appropriateness of architecture and design, let's also think about climate change and the adaptation that we need to do when we think architecture, when we think design. So we might have, for example, much higher temperatures. How does that affect architecture? And how does that affect the interior design of our houses? Another topic, cost of energy, cost of space. All these are elements that have to be factored in our thinking when it comes to putting down a project on a building or on interior furniture, how we want to furnish our house, our office space. Another thing, which is less related to your question, but came to my mind, is we work from home. How do we want our home to look like? And that was brought up earlier. If it has to be an office space, and how do you want to have our office space look like if technology allows us to go there less and gets us used to work from home? So does the office need to look like a home rather than... So many things come up when we think about climate change, new technologies, sustainability, etc. So these are, let's say, my sketchy impressions about our talk today. Thank you.
Great. Now I will put the ball to Ms. Parima. Then, as you are the interior designers and have a long experience in the field, I just wondered about your idea. What do you think about the user behavior changing during the time when we start to work at home, or for already 2 years? And yeah, and this would be really good to hear your insights.
Personally, I think people start caring more about their home, because especially in Thailand, normally Thai people, they spend more time in the office than at their house. So during COVID, I think they get to spend more time at home. And I think I've read somewhere that furniture sellers, their sales kind of rised up during COVID because people want to decorate their house more, and they're choosing products with the quality, the products that have a timeless design, and in terms of quality as well, that it's functional and everything. Yeah.
And the next question will move towards Ms. Nishiri. What do you think about the direction that we're gonna merge between regeneration, sustainability, and the future workspace that you just presented to us recently?
Hello. Okay, I think actually I would like to present this before, but the time is out. So the regeneration, design, and technologies in terms of the workplace or the interior design or architecture industry. I think maybe you're gonna know about BIM, building information modeling. I think a lot of our construction industry and also interior design, architecture, even the furniture design, I think building modulation information this, I think it's helped a lot in terms of sustainable, in terms of cost management, not lose the waste from the construction side. A lot of things can plan on the technologies. You know, at maybe 5 years ago or even 10 years ago, people just build without manage the materials and the things that need to use. For example, like even the metal structures, they just, you know, lump sum buying, you know, or just estimate from imagination or from just roughly calculation. But nowadays technologies help a lot to calculate everything. In our industry, interior design, architecture design, furniture design, without losing any pieces of materials. So this kind of the future is coming together with technologies in our industry. I think this is going to be move forward. And our company, YAF Design, also use building information modeling already. So it's helped a lot in our client to have a cost saving and material saving too.
Now is the time if we have any question from the floor here in our hall. Do we have it? Or I would like to ask our staff, could you check in the chat room on Zoom? Do we have any questions there? Okay. The next questions will be to Marina as you present and show us all of this Italian DNA somehow with this, I would say, this balance between aesthetics and technological driving force that always in the spirit from, of course, but not all Italians, but yeah, Rogers, we all know that he with us, with the and Mario Cucinella, and of course with the idea of regeneration. I just wondered about your idea that when you think about interior designs, because during the presentation, probably I would like you to elaborate a little bit more how to approach regeneration and the idea of regeneration into the interior designs as an architect.
Yes, I never made it to the interior design in my presentation, but we actually do turnkey houses design. So we do all the way from site design, all the way architecture, all the way to interior design, a lot of times, and I think what's really changed, if we're talking about COVID, like I think you just mentioned, is I was listening to a blog about minimalism, and I think all of us trying to be sustainable is also to use less things, and that's probably the drive from minimalist design. A lot of beautiful Italian design has kind of a minimalistic kind of approach, not to like crowd everything, to use very few things but of high quality. So for me, when we do interior design, we're architects, we're not really on top of the trends, so to speak. So we use a lot of the very classic stuff, like what you have mentioned. I love Joe Ponti's work. I love all these Italian brands. There's of course the cost issue. When you do a whole house, in the end, everybody's like, "Oh, it's my 5th house. Do I really need I don't know. Do I really need a Casina sofa, or do I need a living divani sofa that costs like a car?" So I always say, listen, I live with Italian design that has actually been passed on to me by my parents when they used to live in Rome. I have a Gaio Lenti table for 25 years that's still in perfect condition, the glass one with the wheels, I don't know what's called, but the glass table from 1980, but I had it since the 90s. My parents hand me down on the sofa, I think that's like Zanotti or something, I'm not even sure. That's been a leather sofa, it's been in the family for 30 years, and I still love it, and now everybody wants to get all this vintage stuff, and I'm like, I have all this stuff that, has been passed on. Well, if you're gonna go and buy something, I'm not saying IKEA, but something else that you're gonna change every 3-4 years, you might as well just have something really good that you're gonna keep, because it'll just gonna be better, because the design is good, the materials made are good. It's just about quality, and it's not about quantity. That's my philosophy when it comes to interior design. It's not easy to convince clients though, when it's not their first home, especially if it's their 4th home, their country house. They're like, why am I spending all this money? But I'm like, you can move this Gaio Lenti table went from, like Italy to Boston to Cambridge, Massachusetts to Los Angeles and back to Thailand again. And it's still perfect and it still works. So I think that's my philosophy about interior objects.
Thank you. We got the questions from the floor. With the amount of waste generated from the design and construction industry, what change or innovations do you foresee for a more sustainable development in your respective areas? So probably first I will give this question. Do you ask for some speaker specifically, or I can give to? No. Okay. So I think I will give this question to Stefano Mirte, as far as he's in the queue for my next question anyway. Stefano Mirte, are you still here with us? Okay, probably nope. Let's go back to Malina. Could you help me for this question first? May I repeat the question?
Yes.
Yeah. With the amount of waste generated from the design and construction industries, what change or innovation do you foresee for a more sustainable development in your area, in your field, architecture, I would say?
For waste?
Yes, waste. Yeah.
Yes. You know, now that we're talking about full cycle design, I think waste is basically there are firms that just look at waste as their materials. You know, we try to recycle as much as we can, but actually using waste is going the next level, because we probably have, I don't know how many tons of waste out there to be used. I think you mentioned a piece of like fabric, right? That's made out of bottles. A lot of artists are using waste bottles, and in a way we should really design materials that you think about cradle to cradle, meaning that from the beginning to the end of the life of the material, you should really think about where it's going to go and how it could be used in its next life, you know, not just to recycle, but maybe to upcycle as well, to do something even completely different with that material. I think that's happening a lot in furniture and product design, right?
Probably I will pass this question again because it seems to me that the owner of this question asks for probably two speakers at least, because he used plurals. So could you look at it in terms of interior designs, because with the pieces that you pick, it's quite intriguing in terms, because you start with several pieces, and then it strikes me a lot when you appear with Gioponte Superleggera, which is the classic piece, and with the symbol of the kids who can hold the piece of a chair. So that's a really communicative pictures. But then back to the idea that, yeah, of course, how will we manage waste in the interior design industry, I would say.
First, I would like to talk about the furniture industry first, because I came across this brand from Venezia. It's called Stay Green. And I've seen that it's a new brand that makes furniture from cardboard. So it's 100% recyclable, and it's 100% eco-friendly. I think in the furniture industry, they're going towards that way, that trying to make everything reusable, recyclable, and as Kun Marina said, and upcycle as well. But in terms of interior design, I think managing waste is something that Kun Nichiri just said. You can basically use that BIM program in order to manage the materials in the constructions and everything. I think that's a good way to go.
Okay, I think it's about time, and we're gonna conclude the program and to this stage now. I would like to invite Honorable Mr. Ambassador Galanti, Ambassador of Italy to Thailand, to conclude this seminar then.
Thank you very much, Ajarn. Just one word of thanks, grazie, kopkum makrap, to our moderator, to all the wonderful speakers, to the audience here and the audience online. It was the beginning of a journey that will bring us to Milan physically in some cases. In other cases, we might want to follow virtually what happens in Milan. So thank you very much for being with us. One more word about this panel here. Is very gender unbalanced, which makes me quite happy. And this is another form of regeneration. It's totally spontaneous that I'm the only man here, but I think it's great. So thank you very much again to all of you. And for those who are here in person, we have an Italian dinner next door. And for those who are online, thank you very much for following us. Goodbye.
Now we finish the program, and from my part as a moderator, I would like to thank you to all the attendees who stay here with us till the end of the program, and as well as for all the audience who stay in the virtual room in our Zoom. Thank you very much for your kindness, and have a good evening.